Okay, another day, another proposal. Fixing the foundation of mathematics by splitting the atom and linking the two together, engineering and mathematics. The pi tensor is what I'm proposing, but there are three pi's. Pi real, the one that we should build to, Newtonian, 22/7, fixed rational. Pi natural, based on the count of primes from infinity, set of primes from infinity to 33, set of, and then that's count of primes, and then number of prime increasing to 1 through 7. Pi natural, that's recurring but rational. So that pattern 144 numbers repeats, straight lines. Pi natural, and the property of that is that that set must remain. So if it's 144, it'll be some numbers. So the length of that pi is pulsatile. It's there or there. It can be either. So it's mathematically pulsatile. So it's not a real thing, it's mathematics. But you have to have that set of numbers after the 3. Pi n, and then pi e, pi elastic. The pi that we use is the circumference, c. And so c and radius are related to each other. And the radius is h, the circumference is c, and the pole is h bar. So h bar is where the action is. So to understand now the assemblage of the pi tensor in a sphere, just take the northern pole, h bar, and put a whip axis on it. Look at the drawing and see the motion of the whip axis, the momentum, snap, as the wave breaks at that point in a whip action. That whip action has an action back on the crest of the roll of the wave that's been created, and it's an actual pole, and it stands up as matter, stands up on its own. And so that's a solid thing, but it bends, it's a vortex. So that's Fibonaccian. So now you can lay in pi, you lay the base of the primes, count, base of primes, number, bending, above, Fibonaccian, same, split at 33, number, 5 million something, massive compared to the 1 through 7, spring Fibonaccian. So the Fibonaccian geometry is built from the virtual straight line, the virtual 90 degrees at the end, from the difference between the two pi's. So that pi elastic in the center, c, the circumference, which forms c squared, all Michael stuff, time is mass, is the circumference. And so you got h bar, h and c. Everything is relative to that. You make the three-body problem G, and then you make a sphere around that pi tensor called G, and then that's subject to J and K, which is the two twisting forces, tension and bending. Because of the electric action that occurs in the center of the light, which is where the magic happens, there is a clamping action sustaining the rotation forces on G, causing a JK, a twisting force that's carried. And that JK is a potential square. The potential square is the potential surface area of the sphere. And then so that's the pi tensor, sphere split up into those three arrangements. And the key is the elastic circumference of the bowl. So the bowl of c squared, yeah, its elastic circumference can be any dimension. The radius is a pulsatile fix. It's either there or there, relative to, and where it's pushing from is relative to the base of the northern pole, the important pole that does the whip action, the Fibonaccian stuff. Okay. And then you assemble x, y, z, right and left-handed, across, balanced across as the framework that holds this disk. And then you can put another sphere around that, and then that's Newtonian. So everything Newtonian, Levy, Einstein. You're seeing the surface. So you've got c squared is, Einstein's stuff is just looking at the surface from the perspective of expansion. It's pointless. Pointless. Let me show you quantum in this system. So then, can you picture it? The final break of a wave now. So it's all about, why does water exist? Because it creates itself. How? Through the splitting at the equator of the pi tensor. As the wave breaks away from the Fibonacci and from the prime, Fibonacci breaks away from the prime, tension, bending, but both are in compression. So the tension becomes negative tension. It creates its own strength by bending against its force. It creates mass of a loaded spring. Imagine, as you load a spring, its own weight will hold the trigger finely balanced. A hair trigger, you bend it. What's happening is mass is increasing, balancing, and then decreasing. There's a pulsing. The pulsing of the primes is perfect in that spring that you've loaded, balanced. And that's how finely balanced it is. So when every moment it just triggers at 137, and that's the trigger. And so the reason the digits after 137 should be JK. And then you analyze, that is the output from the coefficient tables from Victor Levy's 1915 work. That's how you get that number, JK, twisting, bending and tension. Brilliant, isn't it? So there's a natural kinetic tensor built. And then from there, that's Maxwell. So Maxwell is now surrounding that sphere, showing that the magnetic monopole is the North Pole. It's the only thing that actually exists is the North Pole, and the effect that it does at the whip at the top is created on its circumference at its base, relative to it. So there's a little circle of turbulence, and the North Pole, the crest of the wave. The crest breaks in a different place because it's so fast. The crack of the whip, crack! Yeah, problem solved. So the foundation of mathematics is splitting of the atom. So CERN is a weapon. Smashing atoms is the destruction of the psyche, the conscious mass moment. I'm describing the mathematics of splitting the atom is the construction of your conscious existence. That tearing motion is a moment of existence. At the end there's a flash. Oh look, there's a flash. Let's have a look in there. That's quantum. Can you see the flash? Psh, expanding light. Standard model, spin, all that, quarks, all that shit. Just that's the expansion. That's actually the magic. You can forget all the quantum stuff and see the effects of what that expanding light does, is where the magic is. So, foundation of mathematics today. Is that enough yet? Is it enough? One day, it will be. One day. Today, follow the Rebel King.